Here's a surprise. Alan Dershowitz had a great take on something. And I've been giving the dude a lot of praise lately, justifiably so. And I'm not the only person. Like, the dude's been doing great work for the better part of a century at this point, and he shows no signs of slowing down. And hell yeah, his show is great, and hopefully he continues for a very, very, very long time. He's saying the cancel culture is quickly becoming American culture. Couldn't agree more. Really, it's, if you step out of line, if you are anywhere right of Stalin, okay, you might not immediately get your head proverbially chopped off, but it's coming. You'll make the list. You might be halfway down, but they'll get you eventually. Trust me. Just wait in the foyer. On this week's broadcast of Fox News Channel Sunday Morning Futures, Harvard law professor emeritus Alan Dershowitz decried so-called cancel culture. So-called cancel culture? Fucking Christ, it's Breitbart, okay? I think it's fairly obvious that it's a thing right now, as much as leftists are trying to gaslight people on it. Oh, there's no such thing as cancel culture. Or when you don't want to sign up for a service and support people who hate your fucking guts. Oh, I thought the right was against cancel culture. It's not the same thing. Cancel culture is when you removed somebody from society based on removing their ability to access things. Not supporting people that fucking hate your guts is just good practice, which has been highlighted by the threats made against Trump's defense attorney, Michael Van Der Veen, which he's going to have to get employed by Trump moving forward. I think that's pretty obvious now. Dershowitz likened it to the 20th century McCarthyism and vowed to fight against the phenomenon. Yeah, and the reason Dershowitz can make these comparisons and he can stand up for Trump without actually having to stand up for Trump, because he still calls himself a Democrat, I don't necessarily believe him, because he's just taking down everything that they're doing right now that's obscene and insane. I don't think he just realizes that he's a centrist at worst and could be a new wave of the populist right at best. Hopefully he'll come around to that one day, but he has to realize that the left has kind of left him right now. He might be standing in the same place that he always has, and you know what? He's defended everybody on whatever side of the aisle requires his services, and I believe, yeah, that he probably hasn't moved on anything. It's just the carpet's been moved to the left, and anybody who thinks that the first, second, third, fourth, pick your favorite amendment, if that's valid for everyone, yeah, you're on the right. So, and then you're on that list. Cancel culture is quickly becoming American culture, he said. You know, Common Cause, which purports to be a liberal, non-radical organization, has now demanded that Facebook keep Donald Trump off its platform. Yeah, his temporary suspension at the time has been extended indefinitely by Facebook. That was a report from, I think, about a week ago or so, when it was supposed to be lifted. But yeah, and then YouTube made a similar thing when they took Trump down from his YouTube page, which I don't know how frequently he used it. It was just more or less clips from all of the different rallies. But it was the last platform, and it eventually fell in line. We were getting liberals, Nicholas Kristof of the New York Times, saying Fox should be taken off cable networks. I think we talked about that before. It is a call for censorship. It certainly is. And yes, he's made this comparison a fair few times on his own show, on different other interviews that he's given as well that I've watched. And it's apt, and I'm glad I get to bring it to you guys right here. I grew up during McCarthyism, Dershowitz continued. That was in the 60s, so he's 81 fucking years old. But he's not Joe Biden old. Like, Joe Biden's 78, and he's significantly older than Dershowitz, because Dershowitz can still have a heated debate, and he can put together a half an hour, 45-minute, hour-long podcast Monday through Friday, and it's entertaining to listen to. So not everybody ages the same. I hated communism, but I defended the right of lawyers to defend accused communists. And I defend today every lawyer, and if any lawyer is a subject of any kind of McCarthyism, I will represent you pro bono. I will represent you in front of the universities, in front of the bar associations. I'm going to dedicate myself to making sure that the new McCarthyism of the hard left doesn't become American culture. Wow. I just love that. That's terrific. Dershowitz, it's hilarious how he's come to host his own show because he used to be a regular on CNN. Okay, anybody who was a lefty and had some kind of credibility. And yeah, he was the youngest tenured professor at Harvard. And then he was the oldest active teaching professor at Harvard before he obtained his Mterra status. But because he defended Trump during his first impeachment, the first of the back-to-back championships for Trump, by the way. Yeah, CNN started to distance themselves from Dershowitz. And then they eventually started running a bunch of false allegations based on him. Dershowitz sued them, and I think that court case is still pending because everything got slowed down because of the coup. But yeah, okay. So I'm glad Dershowitz has got the law on lockdown because somebody's going to have to defend it because these activist court judges, and not every one of them, a vast majority of them are Trump appointees, but there's still a lot of those crazy motherfuckers out there, like the one who was ruling on the Parler versus Amazon case appointed by Carter, for fuck's sakes. That was a totally biased ruling, and we still have no word on what's happening with Parler. Yesterday, I was doing a little progress check, and their little splash screen was going down and then back up a couple of times, but today there's no progress on the splash screen whatsoever, so I don't know what the progress is there. And they said Monday, meaning last Monday, so that was Dan Bongino, and he's a big shareholder in the company, so he would have information privy to not but just a few people, so I don't know. So yeah, the law is locked down by, like I've said before, probably the best active lawyer right now, because the cancellations are coming fast and furiously. And it's only happening to one side of the aisle, to be completely honest. Okay, you get a couple of fringe accounts destroyed off of Twitter, but what's Facebook doing? What's YouTube doing? Well, I can tell you what, we can follow up on YouTube. I don't know a dick all about Facebook, but YouTube permanently bans major pro-life news site. What could possibly provoke getting rid of a bunch of fucking boomers talking about how late-term abortions are bad? I think anybody who understands the concept is probably against that, but I don't know. There's some crazy people out there. Ralph Northam. YouTube has permanently banned LifeSiteNews, a popular pro-life news outlet with some 314,000 subscribers. That's, wow, wildly impressive. I have not but a fraction of a percentile of that. Someday. LifeSiteNews editor-in-chief John Henry Weston told the Catholic news agency that YouTube did not provide a specific reason for the deletion of the account, and there is no way to appeal the decision. That's cool. Our best guess is that the channel was taken down for our frank and factual discussions on the controversy around abortion-tainted medicines and vaccines. Interesting. Weston said, the origins of these vaccines are their associations with abortion to acknowledge by the vast majority of scientists. There's some linkage to that being the case with what's happening with the production in China with their COVID vaccine. So, yeah, that should be a fair and open discussion, but the CCP does own a vast percentage of Google, so I understand. Prior strikes were given for speaking the truth about coronavirus, lockdowns, and the presence of an aborted fetal cell in the vaccines. That's what I referenced before. Billing itself as the #1 pro-life news website, LifeSiteNews was founded in '97 as a non-profit online news service. Tucker Carlson said on February 11th that the banning of LifeSiteNews was the latest move of the most sweeping mass censorship campaign in the history of this country. Oh yeah. And there's one thing that I can talk about right now, and you guys all know what I mean. It involves taking something that is not yours and alleging one party did it over the other in order to produce an outcome that was already pre-designed. Talk any further about that, and I'm going to end up in a dumpster behind a Planned Parenthood, and I wouldn't even have a news outlet to cover that because they're gone. That sucks. That's 314,000 people who probably appreciated some good debate that is counter to the popular opinion right now. Listen, if Democrats are just listening to their base, and by their base I mean Twitter, because that seems to be where they're culling all of their popular opinions from, which is just dangerous because those people are fucking nuts. You're just going to end up with a rainbowed version of the old Star-Spangled Banner before the end of this 4-year term. You joke now, but it's a fucking possibility, trust me. And yeah, there's alternative websites to YouTube, like I'm over on Rumble, growing very steadily. If you guys are watching this over there, hello. The comment feature really needs to get improved so I can interact with you guys there. Because eventually I just get emails days later and it's impossible to go back unless I go through the desktop in order to respond to a comment, and then it's such a fucking hassle. I said it before, I'd love to interact with you guys over there, but that's not the point. There's also BitChute, a few other websites, but I'd be naive to say that they weren't a tenth maybe of the size of YouTube. So there's no real way to fight back right now. It involves using this platform, the YouTube platform, in order to cultivate an audience that would be willing to follow you on Rumble, on BitChute, on Odysee, all these other places that would follow you wherever you go. And that's what a right-leaning commentator, you guys already know who I'm talking about, Ben Shapiro, starting up a film company. They've already released a film that people like, critics don't, because it's Ben Shapiro and it's somebody with center-right takes. But he took the most famous person right now who has been canceled and is gonna make millions off of this. I don't see how that doesn't end up being the end result. Oh, she's so pretty. Gina Carano to produce and star in upcoming film for the Daily Wire. So she's going to get producer credits. She's going to be the lead in it, presumably. And this is the way to fight back, okay? The Daily Wire Studios, if they call it that, that's cringe as all fuck. But any of his other naming conventions wouldn't be a hell of a lot better. This is the only way that this stuff stops. Okay, here's the story. Actress Gina Carano is partnering with the Daily Wire to produce and star in an upcoming film exclusively for Daily Wire members. Carano and Daily Wire announced a new partnership on Friday, 2 days after the actress was ousted from her role in the Disney Star Wars spin-off, the show The Mandalorian. Disney cut the actress on Wednesday in what critics alleged as a politically motivated hit. No, that would be anybody with eyes and ears and a brain could see that from orbit. Daily Wire is helping make one of my dreams to develop and produce my own film come true. I cried out and my prayer was answered. Carano said in a statement Friday, I am sending out a direct message to hope to everyone living in fear of cancellation by the totalitarian mob. I have only just begun using my voice, which is now freer than ever before, and I hope it inspires others to do the same. They can't cancel us if we don't let them. Oi, and you can sign up for my website if you use the discount, 25% discount code. That's a very nice discount code. Use Gina on Daily Wire. Get yourself a mug. Sign up so you can watch your film. No, yeah, that's exactly what it is, okay? Make your own platforms, and then if they try to knock you off your website, you just fucking build your own servers. You pull a Gab. You pull eventually what Parler's going to do, and you just keep fighting back. And you hope to replace the people at the institutional levels, and you work to reform those big tech oligarchs that make all of this cancellation happen. So I might have my quarrels with Shapiro, but this is great. There's no other way to say it. Because the days of the Republicans, conservatives rolling over and dying, yeah, that was over. That was proved to be over in 2016, and it's not going to let up anytime soon. And with that said, guys, I mark that down as another victory for today. How about that? I thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.